they should be the worst. It's baseball. You're supposed to win a certain percentage of your games. The Royals aren't doing it. They're not even winning 1 out of every 3 games so far this season, and that is not good, and we're not even to summer yet. That is right. It might feel a little bit like summer, but summer doesn't start till June 21st. Not to summer yet, and the Kansas City Royals have now been long irrelevant, and long irrelevant in a very, very boring way. That's a shame. There are a couple shames also in the world of sports and some potential excitement coming up. We'll do that after the break on our Deja Vu edition of Weekend Sports Wrap here on the Danny Klinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're here with Joe Spiker, the president of Easton Roofing. And Joe, you worked for other companies in the construction industry. What inspired you to start your own company in Easton Roofing?
Well, you know, Danny, when you are working for somebody else, you oftentimes don't get to see the project through from beginning to end, and you don't get the final control over the customer experience. And I wanted to build a place where people can come and get work done on their house and not have to worry about being treated the wrong way and get a good customer service experience start to finish.
The company slogan is "Where Integrity Matters." Why is that so particularly important to you?
Well, for us, what that means is treating each other with respect at work, treating our clients with respect, and making the right choice, especially when no one's looking. So when you're presented all the time as a contractor with choices that have to be made, are you going to make more money on this if you cut a corner? And we just wanted to make a place and a slogan that said to our people and to whoever is our customer, we're not going to do that. We're going to make the right choice regardless of profit.
Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. Looking for a truly unique escape from your normal entertainment or corporate team-building regimen? Stay tuned for an exclusive offer only for Reasonably Irreverent listeners. I'm excited to tell you about an extraordinary destination, the Exit Room, located in the heart of beautiful downtown Lee Summit. The Exit Room is a distinctive entertainment option that offers a cool alternative to the normal couples night out, family get-togethers, and corporate team-building events. The Exit Room is a one-of-a-kind boutique escape room catering to special occasions and corporate team-building events and is unmatched in the Kansas City metro. With 5 individually designed and varied escape room adventures, your party or employees can unplug from their electronic world, interact with one another, match wits, and ultimately escape the humdrum of the ordinary. The Exit Room adventures cross decades and centuries and create fascinating fun. I know the owners well. They are local folks, their staff is warm and friendly, their lobby is inviting and beautiful, and their adventures are award-winning. Check online. There are over 1,000 reviews and note that they are a rare 5-star ranked business. Visit their website and Facebook page, and any of my listeners who books online at theexitroomkc.com using the promo code Klinkscale19 gets 10% off any ticket purchase. The Exit Room in Lee Summit. Unplug, interact, and escape. Get a refreshing change of your expectations of a sports bar and restaurant at the 23rd Street Brewery in Lawrence. Matt Llewellyn's welcoming spot at Clinton Parkway and Castle covers all the bases, like their own handcrafted beers and all the televisions you need for great sports viewing, but it's the large, varied, and delicious menu that stands apart. From a favorite of mine like the awesome ahi tuna appetizer to great sandwiches, outstanding pizza, and truly fantastic entrees, the 23rd Street Brewery has it all. Matt and his friendly staff make it that much more enjoyable. Food until 10, fun until late. The 23rd Street Brewery is a can't-miss stop when you are in Lawrence. Sumner One is the company to make your office maximize efficiency. Their family of companies make up one of the largest independent dealers of office technology in the Midwest. They are proud to bring the best service and technology to top companies across the region. Sumner One can help your organization run more smoothly than ever. Sumner One printers, copiers, MFPs, managed print services, document management, infrastructure design, IT services, disaster recovery, and business continuity. Welcome to the one place where everything works. For more information, call Carl Little at 913-752-2256. Back again with our weekend sports wrap, and also on Friday, the weekend opened with a very familiar story as far as Sporting Kansas City is concerned. They draw again on the road, never a bad result, but they draw in the same way, which is giving up a lead relatively late, actually very late in this particular case, and draw against Toronto by a count of 2-2. It was the 7th straight match that the opponent has scored the final goal in, and in 3 matches this year, somebody has scored in stoppage time to, in one case, hand Sporting Kansas City a loss, and in 2 other cases, it cost them 2 points because they went from a potential win to a draw. And it's defensive assignments, it's easy goals for the opposition, it's games in which Sporting Kansas City probably controls the play. They're starting to get a little bit healthier. It's got to be extremely frustrating for Peter Vermes as his team continues with their road June, where they will play all the games on the road. They just need a feel-good win, because even the draws on the road, which would feel much better if they were in a situation where Sporting came back to tie them or played the second half scoreless to protect a tie, that would be a lot better. They're still outside the line as far as the playoffs are concerned. And in MLS, where basically well over 50% of the teams make the playoffs, that's a pretty low bar. But still, Sporting will get healthier. They will get some home games, but they just need something to get a little bit of excitement into the season before it returns to the fact that they'll have home games and games at Children's Mercy Park and maybe a little more attention. The television games aren't particularly highly watched. Of course, I watch them, and that was actually a pretty entertaining game on Friday night, but it's far less entertaining for a Sporting fan when his team is letting that get away and the 2 points get away, and Sporting still is on the outside looking in as far as a potential playoff spot is concerned. That matters little unless Sporting, if they just play like this and somehow squeeze into the playoffs, it's not going to matter. They're not going to be relevant. They have to play better soccer, and they have the pieces, I believe, to do so. It's just not happening this year, and more, as we've said a couple of times in another incident of deja vu, it just seems like this may be a kind of season that ends up being a little star-crossed for Sporting Kansas City, but they still have plenty of time to resuscitate that. The MLS season is a long, long one, and right now they're in a period where they don't play all that many games between international play and things of that nature. So Sporting could use just something where on the weekend sports wrap I can come up and say, feel good evening for the Sporting Kansas City team, but I can't say it right now. It was supposed to be a feel-good evening in St. Louis last night for the Blues and their fans. Now, that probably doesn't resonate with many Kansas Cityans who, for whatever reason, have disaffection for their cross-state community. I've always found that a little strange. I guess maybe for some people it's the fact that perhaps St. Louis dismisses Kansas City a little bit, or their residents are maybe a little snobbish about where they come from in regards to Kansas City. From a sports standpoint, the Cardinals have been good for years, although they're looking down the barrel of missing the playoffs for the first time, for 4 consecutive years for the first time in a couple of decades, as they're a 500 ball club right now, despite what looks like a pretty good roster to me. But the one time that the two teams played head-to-head for something significant, the Royals won, so they shouldn't be mad about that. Now, of course, there was a call that can be argued, and maybe that's part of the disaffection, too, that's raised 30 years hence regarding Don Denkinger's call. I don't quite understand it, but for everybody who doesn't hold that disdain for St. Louis, the St. Louis Blues and the song Gloria and the fact that they've never won the Stanley Cup is a great story, and last night they had the chance to win the Stanley Cup. They had a chance to do it at home. They had a chance to go marching through the streets of St. Louis singing that silly song from the 1980s, Gloria, and it all went down in flames in a complete buzzkill game. Close after the first period, but the Bruins took control after that and forced a 7th game, and it's back in Boston, and it's hard to imagine that the Blues can summon it up and win Game 7 in Boston, but perhaps it can happen. And it's the kind of story that shows you that that's why we watch sports. Everything was lined up for St. Louis to win that game. They had home ice. They had the momentum of having won the previous game in Boston. They had probably the hockey world on their side, and Boston came up, rose up, played a great game, really made it a no-contest night where by the end the only real thought was whether you'd get into one of those silly hockey fights at the end of a game where the game is one-sided, which is about the only time they fight in the playoffs these days. Certainly never do it in a close hockey game, and that's a topic for another day. But anyway, disappointment in St. Louis last night. By the way, Kansas City is often nights in the top 5 in the country in watching the Stanley Cup Finals. I guess that's always a good thing. Kansas City generally is high in the ratings for watching any sports event. I don't quite know how to analyze that in particular. I think somebody from a larger city would say that that means that there's not that much going on. I think it's sort of the opposite. It's just in bigger cities, there's just a lot going on. It's not like there's nothing going on here. But anyway, we love our sports here in Kansas City. And Game 7 of a Stanley Cup final, you don't get much more excitement than that, particularly if it's a close game. And we'll see if the Blues can make it that. NBA Finals on Monday night. Will it be some epic comeback story for the Golden State Warriors? I think for a while, probably everybody wanted the Golden State Warriors to be taken down, but I'm not so sure they wanted them to be taken down like this, an injury-ravaged team, and it almost looked like the Raptors are winning the title by default. They will not be an embraced champion, I don't think. Their best player likely will not be on the team next year, in Kawhi Leonard. They're not in the United States. Basketball is not in any way, shape, or form the most popular sport in Canada, but still, they are embracing it. Toronto is a very interesting international city, and it's a huge community, and basically when one of the Canadian teams is involved in anything, in particular in sports, the whole country galvanizes behind them, so it's a great Canadian story, but basically all we talk about here in the United States about the NBA is about the Warriors. Will Durant come back? Will Klay Thompson come back? Will they be the champions to three-peat? It's almost like the Raptors are the Washington Generals over here, except this time the Washington Generals are actually going to be the champions of the league if they can win one more game. So that will play out tonight, and it should be exciting. I think now most basketball fans just would like more basketball. So for once, I think the Warriors probably have the fans on their side in this particular game. And if they get this game, then the Toronto Raptors probably will really feel a lot like the St. Louis Blues do right now in the fact that they'll let an opportunity get away. The difference is, even if the Raptors lose this game, even if they lose the next game, they do have the deciding 7th game on their home court, which is certainly different from the St. Louis Blues. Deja vu all over the place in the world of sports. Let's hope that come next Monday when I'm talking to you again, we'll have some fresh and exciting news. Not that I hope I didn't make it a little exciting for you this time around. Maybe we'll have different tales to tell when Weekend Sports Wrap returns again soon on the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast right here at DannyClinkscale.com.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new. This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like
the law offices of Kenneth McRae, developing a unique strategy for your family law case. Divorce can be civil law, not civil war.